If you're watching this video, I would bet that there's a 100% chance that you have owned either a pair of Nike or Adidas boots, and a very strong chance that you've only ever owned Nike or Adidas boots. And I want you to answer this question as honestly as possible down below in the comments. What's the reason for that? Why buy Nike and Adidas over every other brand? Like, seriously answer the question. I'm not joking. And don't say ACC because that doesn't count. This is a topic that I've legitimately thought about a lot, basically since I started doing this whole YouTube thing, because I'm in a bit of a unique position where I've had the opportunity to try pretty much every boot to come out over the last couple of years. And from that experience, I've come to realize that obviously Nike and Adidas make some of the best boots on the market, but I don't think that we can definitively say that Nike and Adidas make the absolute best boots. And if you're buying anything that's not from those two brands, you're getting an inferior product, because that's absolutely not the case. There are some legitimately fantastic products, some better, some worse than what Nike and Adidas have on offer. But those two brands remain on top, and it doesn't look like any brand is ever going to have an opportunity to even come close to knocking them off. And the psychology aspect of that is really what intrigues me, because what is the true reason why Nike and Adidas dominate everyone? I guess you could argue that Nike and Adidas are the two biggest companies in the football boot industry in terms of size, in terms of money, in terms of the marketing dollars that they spend, in terms of the amount of endorsed athletes that they have wearing and advertising their products. So there's definite value to that, and none of the smaller brands will really ever have the opportunity to compete with them on that particular level. But is that the only reason why they dominate? I'd like to say yes, but at the same time, no. We've seen Nike be very successful with a guy like Cristiano Ronaldo and the marketing power that he brings to their brand. But then you got a guy like Messi, who is just as good, if not better, depending on what your opinion is on those two. And he's had a fairly unsuccessful run as the lead man for an entire line of football boots, to the point where they actually had to kill his line off temporarily because the sales were so bad. And then there's the element of just releasing so much new product, more than any other brand would be capable of. So the constant exposure to brand new Nike and Adidas products, having it pushed in your face at all times, I definitely think helps in their overall popularity. I think there's also the reputation aspect of this, where the vast majority of people, obviously everyone has their own individual opinions based on experiences that they've had with either Nike or Adidas products, but I think most people, when they buy Nike, when they buy Adidas, they buy it because they feel confident that they're getting a good quality product. Where if you look at pretty much any other brand, especially when you're talking about football boots, they maybe don't have the same reputation established with the average consumer to gain any kind of market share. I feel like there is this sense of, if I buy any football boot other than one from Nike or Adidas, I'm taking a chance when it comes to quality. I'm taking a chance when it comes to performance. I'm taking a chance on the unknown. And that unknown aspect, I feel, is something that maybe doesn't need to exist in the age of the internet, because there is so much information out there, but it still seems to be a pretty big reason why people don't stray away from the two big brands. So let's say that you're willing to venture into the unknown. You're gonna buy a football boot from Puma or Mizuno or New Balance or Lotto or Under Armour or whatever smaller brand it might be. I don't wanna say less reputable, because I feel like brands like Mizuno have a fantastic reputation, but there is something psychological about buying outside of the two big brands that people run into this roadblock, and I want to kind of get to what the roadblock actually is. And the first thing that I think of is the way that the boots look. People, because the Nike and Adidas boots are constantly coming out and constantly being shoved in your face, there seems to be a big preference when it comes to the cosmetics of the boot, which have absolutely nothing to do with the performance and quality of the product. But I think most people would agree that part of the reason why Nike and Adidas boots are most popular is because a lot of people are of the opinion that they're also the best looking. And obviously the looks are totally subjective. Everyone's gonna have their own opinion, but it seems to be a very common trend these days that people would much rather have the same Nike boot that everyone else has rather than something more unique from a smaller brand, which is kind of weird to me. If you look at the sneaker industry as an example, some of the most desirable sneakers are desirable partially because they're a lot more uncommon, dare I say rare. When it comes to football boots though, it seems like it's the exact opposite, which is weird. So let's say you're not concerned about the way the boots look. What would be the next obstacle? And in my eyes, it has to be the price. If it's $250 for a Nike boot or $250 for a Puma boot or an Under Armour boot or a New Balance boot, whatever it might be, more people are definitely going to be willing to pay $250 for the Nike product than they will for anything else that's not made by Nike or Adidas. Just because one is made by Nike, it doesn't even necessarily have to be better in any way at all. The vast majority of consumers are going to be more willing to spend that exact same amount of money on a Nike product rather than a Mizuno product, simply because, circling back to reputation. But is that reputation really well deserved? Because there have been plenty of Nike and Adidas products over the years that have not been that good in terms of quality, that have not been that good in terms of overall performance, that have not been good for whatever reason. But it seems like they've gotten to a point where no matter what they do, no matter how good the boots get or no matter how bad the boots get, they never seem to suffer when it comes to the overall sales of their product. They just remain dominant no matter what. And that sucks. And then there's the technology side of football boots, which I think I have to admit that Nike and Adidas do this better than any other brand. They come out with new ideas, new concepts that might not necessarily make for the better product, but they market it and present it to you in such a way where, hey, this is this brand new, never been done before, super exciting thing that you definitely really want, and no other brand is going to have it. And most people buy into it. The end result is sometimes something that is legitimately good. Knitted uppers, mid-cut designs, laceless boots, even though Adidas technically wasn't the first ones to do laceless products. Those are all great examples of technologies that really were received well by the public and have changed the football boot industry. There's no doubt that Nike and Adidas are in the driver's seat when it comes to influencing the rest of the football boot market. But some of these technologies have been around for several years now, and with more time, you're going to see development from other brands as well. So you're going to find some of these unknown brands that utilize the same technologies or variations of the same technologies and actually end up doing it better, but don't necessarily get the credit for it because Nike and Adidas, because they came out with it first, they will have that reputation no matter what, that you should buy that technology from them and nobody else. I think a great example of this would be Nike's ACC technology. I know I've made fun of it to no end on this channel, but it is so smart by Nike where they have created something that is legitimately invisible, and I'm not doubting the fact that ACC is physically something that Nike have done to the upper. I'm not saying that it's just a complete scam because that's obviously not the case, but literally it's an invisible element where they print ACC on the upper. It's the only way that you know that it's even there in the first place, and people have bought into this concept so hard where they will legitimately only buy a top-end Nike product because of that ACC feature, even though it is legitimately something that you are not going to be able to feel whatsoever. At this point in time, there isn't a single boot technology from any brand that is that advantageous to have on your boots, because if there were, everybody would be wearing the same thing. So all of this to basically say, what is the real reason why people buy the boots that they buy? Is it the reputation of the brand? Is it the familiarity with the brand? Is it the cost? Is it the look? Is it the quality? Is it the technology? Is it the entire boot as a whole? Is it a review you watched? I'm very curious to know the psychology behind why you pick the boots that you pick, because I know growing up as a kid, I was influenced by a bunch of different factors, but ultimately I felt like I was very much drawn to the newest thing. And I guess from that perspective, doesn't really surprise me that the vast majority of the boots, not all of them, but the vast majority of the ones that I had as a kid were from Nike and Adidas. But now that I've gotten a little bit older and I've been exposed to all the different products and actually had an opportunity to try them, I can honestly say that the grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side when you're talking about Nike and Adidas products. They make great stuff. I'm not saying you should never buy any of their boots, but I definitely think it is worth it if you're a consumer that is very open-minded to trying different things and getting the best possible product for your money. Take a look at what everyone else is making, because there are some legitimately great options out there outside of the two big brands. And that pretty much concludes my rant. I think about this stuff way too much. I've had it on my mind for a long time now, so I figured I would put it in video form and get some of your opinions. I am legitimately interested, based on your perspective as an average consumer, as a boot enthusiast, whatever you consider yourself to be, what is the reason why you pick one brand or one specific boot over everything else? And actually think about it, because I think once you think about it yourself, you might realize that you're picking your boots for the wrong reasons, or not necessarily having an open mind like you should to end up with the best possible product. Because while Nike and Adidas make great stuff, they're not the only ones making great stuff. Either way, if you guys enjoyed this video and perhaps would like to see more rant videos on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like. If you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on daily content from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. All my social media information is linked down below in the description as well, so follow me there if you don't already. If you're looking for a great deal on brand new boots, you can check out the super deals or new release pages on my website, both of which are linked down below in the description, so be sure to go ahead and check that out. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.